Grant, Barry Richardson in as first team coach. Why Barry, first of all?
Tremendous experience. Worked very closely with him at Hull. Obviously as a player at Peterborough when he was there. Obviously a goalkeeping coach at Peterborough and a goalkeeping coach at Hull, but he brought more than that at Hull. When I was there with, obviously as the manager, his defensive traits in terms of a lot of work that we'd done on the training ground, Barry took from a defensive point of view. Great knowledge of the division, and probably above all else, a fantastic human being. And I think you know us now that we like people like that who have that work ethic of, wanting to do well for themselves, but also wanting to improve others. And he'll bring that in abundance for us.
It's important that you've got that trust in someone's ability, and the personality as well when you're introducing him to your group that you've put together.
Yeah, trust is a big thing. For us to add a good person to our staff was always the trust was going to be huge for us really, and I trust Barry. And he knows how we want to work. He knows how we want to play. He's a good motivator in terms of he'll get the boys going. He knows exactly what it takes to get out of this division. He won the league with me. So it's for me, it's a really good appointment. I think it's an excellent appointment. I'm pleased with it. The club has backed me with the appointment, and I think he fits right into what we want to do.
How will he be with the lads?
Brilliant. Yeah. I think he'd be brilliant. There's a real human side to Baz, but also a side where you wouldn't want to cross him, which is good. And I like that. He's got that edge about him. He's got that winning mentality where he wants to win, and that's what we're about as a staff. But he also has that wanting to learn, wanting to help people, wanting to help the players, help staff. Fine, no problem at all, and just doing everything he can to push us to the next level, and that's what we're trying to do.
This is a new role that's been added. What will it entail? What are you looking for from Barry in this position?
Yeah, well, we've obviously, like I said to you in one of the previous interviews, we wanted to try and restructure the staff, and we're still evolving really on that. We're still trying to look at different things. But with Glove's role moving more towards the recruitment and having a real focus on that with his team, we felt we needed to bring an experienced head in there to help me, Cliff and Cops. And Barry will certainly do that, and he's coming in as that first team coach with Cops. And them, like I said to you last interview, Cops' coaching skills is coming on so much. I think Barry can help us, Cops, Cliff, myself, and all those departments. But when you look at our staff, Cliff is probably more defensive minded, so is Baz. Where myself and Cops are probably more attacking thinking. So I think there's a lovely balance in there, added to a very good goalkeeping coach in Kyle Leathern, who is again improving and getting better all the time.
It could be big for both Cops and Kyle, couldn't it, Barry, in terms of helping them in they're both still in the early stages of the development, of course. Yeah,
absolutely, but I want to make it clear he's not coming in to do any sort of things with goalkeepers. It's really helping the first team, adding his experience onto units, the back four, how we work, how we defend, a lot of that. But also, it's obviously going to be a little bit of a bedded-in period for Baz because it's a different transition. But you see goalkeepers up and down the country. Lee Grant's probably a really good example at Ipswich when he's moved in from goalkeeping to first team coaching. It happens. One of my good friends who is doing very, very well in Wales at this moment in time, Tony Pinnock, has moved from goalkeeping coaches into coaching with me at Hull. So it happens up and down the country. And Baz has got the traits to do that. He's been there, he's done it before. He's been at this club. He knows what this club's about. He's played here, he's coached here. I feel it's a really good appointment.
Elsewhere this week, Billy Sharp, Ian Lawler signing new contracts. So how pleased are you about that? Yeah,
delighted. It was, when we sent the contracts out to Billy and Lawsy and obviously Tom and Bobby, we wanted to try and get the information back on the deadline that we said, and we did, and it's good. Delighted that Lawsy signed. Again, I speak about character. He brings a lot of that. He's going to work very hard to push next year to be the number one. We will bring another goalkeeper in, but Lawsy knows he's in for a fight and he's all for that. Billy, again, just adds tremendous experience to us. But not only his experience, again, what Billy is as a person, what he brings on the pitch, off the pitch, everything about him is going to be vital for us going forward.
You could see, in terms of the contribution that Billy can continue to make on the pitch, coming back and playing such an important role in getting over the line for promotion and winning the title as well.
Yeah, he's like I say, he's bigger than just what you see on the pitch, though. The work he does at the training ground around some of the younger players, not only the forward players but all the players, is massive for us, you know. And the likes of Billy, Lawsy, Jamie Sterry, Owen Bailey are starting to come to the fore now. Joe Ironside, you know, they're big characters in our changing room, big people who can, you know, settle the players down if they need to, or give them a kick up the backside if they need as well. So yeah, again, it's about getting the balance right. You
mentioned Tom Anderson, who's opted to move on elsewhere. Just your thoughts on Tom and the contribution that he's made.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolute rock warrior. Magnificent for me over 2 spells. I can't, you know, like I said, I can't thank him enough for what he's done. I wish him nothing but the best at Shrewsbury. You know, we were disappointed that we didn't get to keep him. But that's football, you know, you can't mope around about it. You just got to go on to your next target, which we have. And like I say, I wish nothing but the best. Shrewsbury are getting a tremendous person, a lad who gives everything every single day. Excellent in the changing room and an excellent player, so I wish him well.
What's the situation with Bobby Faulkner?
Bobby had a similar sort of deadline to Lozzie and Billy and Tom. We didn't hear back, and then we did hear back, I think it was yesterday or the day before, from his agent to say that he will reject the contract that we offered. It's a bit of a tricky one, really, because do we see Bobby breaking into our first team next year? Possibly not. Do we see him coming and having and maybe another good 6 months signing with us, having another good 6 months either in the National League, League 2? Yes. He's a 20-year-old boy. We feel there's a lot of development in him, hence why we offered him a new contract. So I'm hoping common sense prevails, but if it don't, then the club hold compensation on Bobby, which they're entitled to. What that looks like in a tribunal, I don't know, but I would imagine it would be a fee that would put off a lot of teams in the National League and League 2. So the ball's really in Bobby's court. We're trying to help him. We want him to try and progress in his career. And he needs to understand where he is at this stage of the career. So, you know, we helped him last year with a move to Ireland. It didn't quite work off with him. He's had a really good loan at Buxton where he's played. But we wanted to make him that next step now, you know, have a bit of a pre-season with us. Can we push him into the National League? If we can get him into League 2, then brilliant. But we'll see how we go.
In terms of incomings, any progress since we've last spoke?
Yeah, working very hard. Working very hard in terms of the recruitment and in certain areas where we feel we need. And it's a difficult time at this point, you know. As much as we want to get our business done early, like yesterday, players are on holiday, people aren't answering their phones, agents, clubs, but we want to take a bit of time and evaluate their squad before they let people out. Obviously, the out-of-contract players are weighing up their options, so it's difficult, but I've done probably 3 or 4 Zoom calls. I've been in and around meeting players, driving here, there and everywhere. The targets that we want and the targets that we set. So a lot of those players know. The ones who we've spoken to know that we're keen to bring them here. But as always, we're not going to wait forever because we need to move on to our next target, because when you're waiting in one, you sometimes tend to lose the next one. So it's again, it's just getting the balance right.